Hello, my name is Lucas. This is A Bit of Lit. I'm here for the fourth time today to make another video to talk about another book that I've read. This one I actually read just recently, as in I just finished it about an hour ago, and that would be the one and only novel, The Mansion, by William Faulkner, which is the third in the Snopes trilogy, which I've been reading for the summer of Snopes and during Faulkner in August, although it seems that kind of went away for summer of Snopes. And I never ended up joining the Voxer. I think that's the app. I have it on my phone. I never use it. I have it sometimes. I open it every so often and then I see I've got nobody on there except Brian at Bookish and Noah from Everyone Who Reads Must Converse, and I guess Una from Codex Cantina. I've got quite a few people. 3 people. I don't use it that much. I would get distracted. And I always make a mistake in things I want to say, but I don't pay for it, so I can't undo it. It's annoying. Anyway, let's talk about The Mansion. Let's not talk about personal app problems. The Mansion is a very dense novel, I find, compared to the other 2. In some ways, I like it the most. In other ways, I think it was just, I don't know. It's a little bit hard to follow. I think the style that it was written in certain parts, still very simple to follow along with, like it was in The Town. And then, especially when we get to the third part, which is titled Phlegm, we've got Mink, Linda, and Phlegm. The third part, we start to see kind of a change in, or more often used at least, a change in the narration style. This novel focuses on Mink Snopes and his desire to get revenge after having killed a man in the hamlet, and wanting Phlegm to help him, but Phlegm coincidentally stayed in Texas so that he wouldn't have to help Mink, and Mink promised that when he got out he would kill Phlegm Snopes. And this novel is about the downfall of the Snopes, or is it? That's the question to ask. Certainly the downfall of Phlegm. This novel does very, in some ways I don't like it because it really covers ground that's already been covered from the other novels, but it does recontextualize everything from a different perspective. So that does add to it. It's not just covering a whole lot of ground from The Town and the hamlet, again, for no reason. There is purpose, so it's not so bad. Although, having just read the other 2, and the first one basically twice, very recently, it was a bit much, too much too soon, I guess, which I think also, it affected my enjoyment of Vonnegut novels. Certainly it affected my enjoyment of The Town, and especially The Mansion. Although I did enjoy it. I loved the parts that focused on Mink the most, because I was very curious to know more. Ever since the Hamlet, I'd been waiting for something to happen. And Phlegm knows that when Mink gets out, he will keep his word and he will go after Phlegm. So Montgomery Ward, oh my god, I'm blanking, the pornographer, right? Let's just say Phlegm does what he can to make sure that Mink will be in prison twice as long, and he ends up getting 38 years out of the 40 years he's supposed to be there, although he was given life. thanks to his good behavior, until the time when he tried to run away, dressed as a woman, which caused him all kinds of trouble and just made Mink even angrier. Yeah. One thing about Flem, he is, we're introduced to a lot of politics in this novel. I mean, there's a lot of going after racism in the South and the KKK and silver shirts and talk about the war and how it affected people and what was left of their lives after, if they survived, and the whole, capitalism or, communists, what to do with them and what to make of this change in the world, change in the South. There are two communists who are Finnish people, Finns, that have moved to Jefferson. Kind of an interesting element. I think I don't know what to make of that whole part, but we're introduced to Clarence Snopes, who is about as crooked as they come. I think I've seen him in some other works. Was he in Sanctuary too? He was in Sanctuary on the train or bus or something, right? In Memphis? I don't remember. But I think Gavin Stevens was too. But I digress. We're introduced to a politician who is up to no good. A state senator. And as corrupt as they come, but not the worst. Snopes. Flem is just he uses anybody to get respectability, to get money, to get power, to make everything he can of himself, and he'll use anyone. He'll throw anyone he can under the bus for his own sake. Certainly, like I said earlier, he makes sure that Mink will stay in prison longer, so that he can live longer. But he's made a lot of enemies along the way, and that includes his daughter, Linda, who's the daughter of Eula Vance, who is also the daughter of Manfred Despain, biologically, I suppose, though not legally, perhaps. And a lot of reverberations come from Eula Vance or Eula Snopes' taking of her own life. And we see that come to fruition in this novel. And what is really incredible about this book is that Mink is not a good person. None of the Snopes are, really. Mink is very much not a good person at all. But, he's in jail for murder. And yet, not even by the end of the novel for me, I just wanted to see him get to Flem immediately. But definitely by the end of the novel, you're really like, come on, do it. Yes, go. You're rooting for this to happen. And it's quite impressive, the writing, how he's able to craft, how William Faulkner is able to craft this extremely dense story, bring it all together, and wrap things up beautifully, quite well. I will leave it at that. I won't say much more of what happens, but overall, I should have taken more time, started reading these Snopes books earlier, though I did try to read the Hamlet in June, and then I stopped, and then at the beginning of the month I tried to read it again, and then no, and then I thought, one more time, and then, so that's kind of my fault. I read too much too soon, so retreading over familiar ground was a bit, felt unnecessary, although it did recontextualize things, and added so much more with its focus on this revenge plot, a different kind of political writing about politics in different ways, and writing about changes, especially because this story spans like 40 years or maybe even more. If I missed something, well, I guess maybe more, because we kind of touch on stuff from the Hamlet. Anyway, before the Hamlet. Yeah, I liked it, and I am a fan of William Faulkner. Although I would have to say I am not going to be reading anything by him for a good long while. I need a Faulkner break. Too much. My brain is melting. Oh. I think there's a quote by him. Some interviewer said something like, what do you say to fans of yours who think your books are really dense and they feel like they have to read it? They feel like they don't understand it after they've read it 4 times. And he said, read it 5 times. That's how I feel, although I don't want to. But I suppose it's rewarding. I'm going to keep rambling. Pretty good series. Although I recommend taking your precious time. Don't just...